Welcome back, guys, to the Cadoa Boatwork Bonanza, currently underway in the Willet built shipwright shed down in Shamrock Quay. Alright, now I am waist deep in boatwork right now, and that's primarily been taken up by the Teak deck work, much of which I've brought you guys up to speed with in earlier videos. But in today's video, we're going to focus on the cockpit area, and we're going to take this cockpit looking like this and have it looking something like this. And as I say, there's some really important details which I'm going to share with you. Again, having worked alongside actual craftsmen and picking their brains, they've given me some inside knowledge to make sure that these bonding sticks really well and looks the part. Alright. Now, the Teak deck on Cadoa has actually been split into sections. In fact, the forward part of the deck, you've already been able to watch me painstakingly prepare for months now, and that's very nearly ready to start caulking. Now, the cockpit on Cadoa, interestingly, isn't as in bad condition as the forward deck was, which in many ways doesn't make any sense because the cockpit is by far much more heavily trafficked in terms of day-to-day use than the forward deck was. But c'est la vie, I'm not complaining. I'm certainly not upset that I don't have to remove loads more of that caulk, but there are some repairs that need doing. Now let me show you some of the problem areas that we're going to look to tackle. So for example, we've got a seam which has completely come away here, exactly the same here, and one on the end. We've also got a few random little sort of spot repairs. Here we've got like kind of just a cavity missing here, and we've got that again in several places. Just a little bit of seam coming away here. And again, some cavity coming away here. And just, again, a few little spots. So first things first, I'm going to clean up this area, have a little bit of a hoover, and then I'm going to mark with some blue tape all of the spots that need repairing, just so when I come up here with my extraction tool, I don't miss anything. I want to do this once, and once only. Right, that's better. Now everything's tidied up, I'm just going to use a little bit of tape and mark up all the spots that are a problem. Some of them are way more obvious than others, but I'm going to have a good look, try and find every single one I can. Let's get that sorted. There's one. Slightly more obvious one. A whole little section will probably have to come out. Another glaringly obvious one there. Each one of those blue dots is a little area to repair. When you add up all those blue dots, there's a little bit more than I realised. But repair we shall, because total removal, it's big. It's really big. Hello, my old friend. Okay, now I know I've shared this with some of you before, but all I'm using for the removal of the caulking is this Bosch multi-tool. Fine example if I do say so myself. And the attachment that I've got here, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up all that well. There you go. It's basically like a little hook-shaped, double-edged razor, and it's the only thing I've found that's particularly effective at getting in deep and removing the caulking. But you do need to be careful. 2 words of advice I have for you. Don't go fast and don't put too much strength into it, because if you go fast it's very easy to slip into the teak, and if you put too much strength into it, again, you can end up diverging from the caulk into the teak. Ask me how I know. Alright, with all that said, let's get on with it. Goodness me, I forgot just how backbreaking that entire endeavour is, but that is now all of the problematic caulking areas have come out and been extracted. Now I just need to get in there with a little bit of sandpaper before we then move on to the next phase. Alright, what I've actually decided to do is just use a tiny little super sharp chisel just to kind of go down the sides and just try and just ease off the very last of that old caulking. And then when I think I've got as much of as I can, then I'll just very quickly go over with sandpaper. But first things first. That's me pretty much done with the chisel and the sandpaper. Now I need to start cleaning up all the minutiae in those little crevices to get ready for the next phase. So first things first, when it comes to cleaning anything properly on a boat, acetone. Hello, my pretty. You know, I waited until lunchtime to do too much of the talking on this video, mostly so that everybody could be away at lunch, not working, not chattering, there wouldn't be too much noise. And no sooner had I decided to make my move, some sort of monsoon has just opened up and is just pitter-pattering down on top of the shed. But c'est la vie, fair la vie. When the weather's like this and you're working on a boat, you're more than happy to be inside a tent than outside. This is first world problem. Right, let me see what we've got. Alright, so we have some acetone, and then once we finish acetoning, we have also got some Sika primer, which we're going to, but we'll get to that afterwards. But first things first, we're going to clean the insides up here. And what I've decided to use is a combination of obviously the acetone and a rag, and then this is the sandpaper that I was using just to clean up in between the individual bits of teak, and that's almost worn out now, but that is just the right thickness to dip this in some acetone. Then you know the drill. Next up, time for some primer. I'm going to decant this into a little cup so that I'm not continually dipping my brush in here and ruining the rest of it. I need to leave that to dry somewhere between half an hour minimum to a maximum 24 hours. So that's basically the window that I need to apply the new caulking. So yeah, just get it done. That's actually pretty potent. Might be an idea to wear a mask actually. In fact, someone's almost certainly going to jump into the comments, aren't they, and be like, you should definitely wear a mask if you're using that stuff. Smells like secondary school. Anyway, I need to give that a solid half an hour, so I'm going to go get it cleaned up, and then I'm going to start prepping the next phase. Alright, next up, it's a little bit of this. We got some Sika sausage. I don't know if that's actually the official title, but this is the caulking that we're going to put in. And one of the other benefits about working here is the fact that I get to use all the proper tools. It's going to be a damn sight better than piping it in like some sort of patisserie chef. Although this isn't the actual one I'm using, the actual Sika sausage that I'm going to be applying in just a moment is down there warming up on the heater. I decided to actually heat it through to liquefy it a little bit more so that we can get, I decided, one of the guys here suggested, my man G, said warm it up, get it more liquefied, because we've got really deep teak on Godot, so we're going to aim to get all the way in there, make sure we fill up all those gaps and have no bubbles. So let's get it done. I'll be back. wasting precisely 0 time at all, getting sicker all over my hands. All right. Okay, so I'm filling from the bottom all the way up and keeping that nozzle all the way down, hopefully to fill that entire space and leave no air voids. That is my first crack at the whip, but hopefully I can get a little bit better and a bit more efficient and use a little bit less sicker as we go around, because at this rate, it's not going to last very long. Alright, that is me just about ready to leave and head home. All of those areas that need repairing in the cockpit are now full of sicker, and that needs to go off and set, and it takes a couple of days by all accounts. Today is Thursday, so I think, do you know what, I may as well just leave it all weekend, come back on Monday, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and then move on to the next phase. But as far as this job's concerned, I will be back in 3 or 4 days, although in the interest of video today, it'll be about 3 or 4 seconds. Watch. And we are back. I am back precisely 1 week later. A lot has changed. I've had a little bit of a snip up. I'm looking a little bit less Tom Hanks late stage Castaway.
Where is it?
And the reason we're a week later rather than a couple of days is because the guys here said, look, that sicker is going to want at least a week to settle because it slowly keeps moving. So if you attack it straight after the weekend, you might find that there'll be continued shrinkage, and then it will just look bad and it won't be done properly. So those of you interested, I did also manage to sneak away really early this weekend because it was a stunning weekend, and I got down to this beautiful little spot just as the sun was rising, and there was this amazing fog that was just flowing off the edge of these cliffs. So I was hiking down to this little spot, got in the water, which was rammed full of lobsters and fish and jellyfish and more jellyfish, but again, this isn't the place for that, but I just wanted to let you know I did get away. So for any of you who are interested in coming on those mini adventures and seeing these really beautiful places both above and below the water with me, again, I've put those videos, as I said before, on a little side channel, a very British adventure, easy to find, and this is the most recent video. But back to today, let's get this cockpit teak deck finished. Okay, so this caulking is absolutely rock solid. It has set beautifully. That's absolutely solid. So the next thing we need to do is get a really sharp blade and then take the top of that off. Before then moving on to the final stage. Although, first things first, I think I'm going to need to give this old girl a wee bit of a sharpen. Alright, so I switched to the belt sander, and we've got an 80 grip belt on there, and that has taken the job, the lion's share of it, really quickly has been taken off. But we've got all these little awkward to reach spots with the belt sander here that we're going to need to go back to the orbital for, so let's get that done. And that is a wrap. I'm super happy with how that turned out. The teak looks nearly new. It's as close as it's going to get, and I'm really happy with it. And for those of you who do want to come on those little mini adventures, the little hunter-gathering adventures with me, then again, I did manage to get out this weekend over on the side channel, a very British adventure. I found a great little spot, got there at sunrise, everything was beautiful, it was really lovely, and we went on a little mini overnight camping adventure. But again, that's not for this channel. Boat work is for this channel right now, but as I say, for those of you that are interested in that still and you want to come along and see these really stunning places that I go and seek out all around the coast of our fine country, then again, over on YouTube, a very British adventure. Now I've got to get on with the rest of it. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.